How the hell are people buying homes? A 4-5K house at 8 with a standard down payment is $2,600 a month. People are paying vastly more than that in rent. The only thing preventing most renters from buying is saving up that down payment by having access to more money than you. That's practically a free house where I live. Buying a $450K home doesn't mean you'll have a $450K mortgage. Most people buying homes are not buying their first home, so the equity from their previous home can bring down the mortgage substantially. So you could quite easily have a $150K mortgage on that $450K house. Also, I think you're drastically underestimating how many people make at least $120-160K. Investment companies are buying single-family homes as investments and renting them to people who 10 years ago would be buying the property. Those homes will not be going back on the market. The home industry is in the process of pivoting to a rental market and residents will suffer. I understand the typical answers here about cash in hand or just being wealthy, yada yada. My main question is, why? Like you're saying, if the house is a POS, why are you spending that much on it even if you can? It's strange to me. I don't know, but where I live, a small city in the upper south of the US, houses in the 700,000 to 1.5 million range are being snapped up like crazy. I think what is happening is people from the North Chicago, New York, Northern Virginia, etc. are selling their houses at huge profits, and so the prices in my town look cheap in comparison. I wouldn't be surprised if many are cash purchases. It's driving the value of my house up, which is not good since I have to pay tax on its assessed value, which keeps going up every year. Not special, 2K house on small lot house is better than not having a house. I am from Europe originally. Where I came from, the house you described would be an improvement compared to tacky, soulless 700 SQFT apartment where I had to live with my parents because getting even smaller, equally soulless apartment on my own was impossible. Here in USA, buying house you described on my own would be difficult as well. But it is easier as a couple. The median household income in the US is about $75,000. After taxes, most people will walk home with somewhere between $4,300 and $5,000. Median national rent is about $1,700 a month, which leaves quite a bit of room for saving. FHA loans for first-time buyers only require 3.5 down with a decent credit score. Including closing costs, a $250,000 house could be purchased for less than $15,000. The monthly payment on this, assuming a 30-year at 6.725, along with property tax and insurance, will be awfully close to that $1,700 a month that the median renter pays per month. Cash buyers. We get to bypass the interest rate hike and have more potential for haggling the price. I'm in the upper Midwest and started looking a week ago. Every house that I've been even minimally interested in has at least 10 offers within a day after being listed. And people are still waiving home inspections to get an advantage. I told my realtor I can't compete with that. I just don't have that tolerance for risk. Homes are worth what someone is willing to pay. It only takes one person out there who can afford it. I made a lot of money on the stock market on accident, forgot I was contributing to a super successful company stock. It was a complete fluke, but I capitalized on it. Copied from a previous comment. My man, it's all about dual income and pushing yourself to do better in life. My wife and I both made around $45,000 when we bought our first house. We were both still in college. Zero down on a $160,000 house via FHA loan, though you can also use a USDA loan if you're not in a city. Our mortgage was around $1,200 a month and we were bringing home around $2,800 a check. We weren't exactly living the high life, but it was totally reasonable. Just so you know, $45,000 a year is only about $21 an hour. That's why I say to invest in yourself. In today's world, it is super easy to make more than that with a basic skill, management, trade, etc. This was 2 years ago. Not everyone is broke. I mean, I'm broke as shit. But not everyone is . I'm with you. My own house, which is very little and has few extras, is almost half again what I paid for it 8 years ago. Its value keeps going up and up, but when does it get to the point where nobody can afford it? It's ironic, I couldn't buy my own home if I was shopping now. Depends on where you live. Living in bigger metro areas in states with high cost of living, the houses will be less affordable. I was able to own a house in Indiana, but cannot think of owning one in Texas. Couldn't afford a house even if I try. Well, let me take that back. I probably could afford the mortgage. But if something breaks in the house like appliances or plumbing gets FD, or if the roof leaks, I would be screwed. So, apartment living is pretty much my only option. So 8 isn't really that bad. It's bad compared to 5 years ago. But in the 80s, it was double digits. So it's bad, but some people have lived through worse. The other thing you're not thinking about is if you own a house and want to move. Your home will have gained a lot of equity in the last few years, and you'll end up owing the same amount unless you move to a more expensive area or a larger property. With more years to pay it, you get a lower mortgage. A lower mortgage means you can afford to pay more, which means you end up paying off early, which means you paid less interest. A 1000 SQFT house across the street from me just listed at $700K. It has no yard and no garage. I just don't know how anyone can live in this city anymore. When I went into the open house, even the sales rep seemed embarrassed by the cost. The taxes alone are over $1K a month. With mortgage insurance and a 7 to 8 mortgage, I can't even imagine how much that would cost.